As we continue to roll through on this huge Friday, we're going to talk about the ongoing violence in America's cities and the NRA and guns with Governor Mike Huckabee in the next segment. My friend Carol Markowitz at the New York Post had a frightening thing. She had to introduce my next guest, however. We're going to talk about technology and China and some of those things. Erin Elmore is the executive director for USA Strong. You may see her on Fox News. She's also a contributing columnist at townhall.com, the place that proudly publishes my Sunday column. And glad to welcome her to Kevin McCullough Radio for the first time. Erin, welcome.
Thank you for having me on Kevin McCullough Radio for the first time.
I know that you've been here before, but that was when Mr. Borelli was hosting. So I was grateful to get you to come back.
Yeah, he's a longtime friend of mine, and I reached out to you and said, I'm on the Kevin McCullough show. Where's this Kevin McCullough? So here we are.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. So it looks like the president is going to executive order the banning of TikTok, and we've talked about this from a technology perspective a little bit earlier in the week, Ari Zoldan, but talk to me about it from the perspective of how it impacts the discussion for America social media users and for the implications it has for the country.
Well, first of all, TikTok has been downloaded worldwide over 2 billion times. So it is, needless to say, quite popular. It is a viral dance video sensation that people have a lot of fun with. I would tell everyone in America, every parent listening right now, everyone that has it on their phone, delete it right now because it is a parasitic spying tool of the Chinese Communist Party. So the question that you asked is sort of about data control. Yes, they're getting in our phones, by the way. They're copying our keystrokes and potentially accessing things like medical data, if that's on your phone, banking data. That's one aspect of the problem. The second aspect of the problem is censorship. People in both sides of the aisle in Washington, Republicans and Democrats alike, have come together and said, wait a minute, TikTok could interfere with our election by publishing data and stories and videos on one side of the aisle. And because it is owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance, they are beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. And we've already seen censorship on China-specific issues, whether or not it's pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong or the issue of Taiwan or the concentration camps that the Uyghurs and other ethnic minorities are in China. They seem to take down any issues like that and sort of push their own agenda. So the censorship is real. The danger is real. And the president we have here in the United States, President Trump, is correct.
I was not aware that the downloads had exceeded 2 billion. That is amazing. I think half of those alone are my producer Alex doing his nightly go home video. But let me, and Alex, I kid, it's only a fourth of them. But let's talk about how that looks, because coming out of 2018, I remember, in the primaries this year, I remember AOC tweeting about how a few TikTok teams seem to impact the rally attendance at the president's rally in Oklahoma, and they almost took pride in it. It was like, hey, look at what we did, and we aced you in this way. You're saying the Chinese could be far more nefarious in their use of it.
Absolutely. And they don't have a great vested interest in President Trump getting reelected because he has been the first president in modern history to speak out against the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah. I think they would like their puppet Joe Biden. As we know, Joe Biden's son Hunter still has ownership through an LLC of companies over in China. So it would behoove the Communist Party in China to sort of usher Joe Biden into the White House. And if they can do that through manipulation of data and specific information being pushed out to these 2 billion users, they will.
Yeah. Well, and it's pretty obvious that when it comes to China, Biden is quite compromised. Hey, let me shift gears just a second and ask you about USA Strong, because this is your organization, and you've got some pretty good goals. What are you trying to do, and how can those of us listening be of help?
So USA Strong is an America First grassroots organization. We're very new, and we're up and running on social media, so please follow us at Proud USA Strong across all platforms. But what we want to do is we want to restore greatness to the American middle class. We want to bring manufacturing jobs back from overseas. We want to make sure the United States enters fair trade deals. We want to make sure that American-based citizen workers get the first jobs here. As we know, this isn't just about the coronavirus. It did open a lot of people's eyes to the dangers of China, but now we see a whole slew of issues that the Communist Party is really manipulating. And we can no longer sit idly by and watch this Communist Party dominate their way into a global superpower.
Yeah.
If you just look at pharmaceuticals alone, according to Rosemary Gibson's book, China RX, China has exclusive manufacturing deals on things like anesthesia, cancer medications, and AIDS and HIV drugs. And according to the Department of Commerce, over 97% of our antibiotics originate in China. If there is a disruption to this supply chain, we could have problems with the military, with just to say, the least. What about our population and our children? This needs to stop, and we need to bring those manufacturing jobs back to the United States, not just for our safety and security, but also to help the American middle-class worker.
No doubt about it. Erin Elmore, we appreciate what you're doing for fighting the good fight. Please come back to Kevin McCullough Radio, whether me or Joe or anybody else is on. We're always welcome to have you. And thanks for being with us on today's edition.
Thank you for having me. Have a great weekend. Don't make any TikTok videos.
Alex. Okay, coming up next, Mike Huckabee on the NR